the globalization for us, for community developers, for community educators, is to share the experiences, what we have here, and allow those people in other parts of the world to share the experiences with us, and we can learn from each other. Democracy building is not a one-way street. Democratization is also a movement of giving people the rights, the power of decision making for themselves. And it's different from village to village, from community to community, because every community is totally different. And the stabilization of the global peace is really this type of process, to understand each other and different continents, different parts of the world, to be able to share and to be able to make decisions which are going to be beneficial for people.
I think the thing, and it's particularly from England, the thing that people here are interested in is how you scale it up. Because here, in most cases, it's still relatively small scale, and that's the thing that is fascinating for most people here. And we do have experience of that. I'm not saying we have the perfect experience, but the cascade model that we've been able to employ, working through government agencies as well as the small charities in strong partnership together, it's meant we've had to learn about partnership, and that's been fascinating in itself. But the way in which we've been able to scale up by, for instance, in 12 months, training 1,000 extended schools remodelling consultants to work across our 150 local authority areas is really the only way to scale up in a relatively short space of time.
I feel personally that we've been through a valley. Under No Child Left Behind, we saw it coming and we've experienced it. And look what we've done, despite the fact that we have been swimming upstream against policies that are really very much counter in a lot of ways to what we believe in community schools. I mean, we've seen a narrowing of the academic agenda. We've seen so much pressure put on principals and teachers. And despite the unintended negative consequences of No Child Left Behind, I think we've done a remarkable job of creating a movement. And I'm thrilled to think about what we might be able to do in a different kind of political environment with a different kind of federal policy, particularly a policy that might be informed by work from other countries.
Both of us, both the UK and America, are in a difficult situation, as we've been shown by that UNESCO report, which I think has shocked both nations, two of the wealthiest nations in the world, and yet our children are some of the most unhappy. Why are they unhappy? The most important thing is that we haven't listened to them enough. How can we make sure that we both listen to them, that we attend to their needs genuinely, in order to make sure they become the citizens of which we can rightly be proud, rather than the citizens of which we're often afraid?
When we talk about change, sometimes we have to risk, and that's a risk factor, and the people in that country have to risk often their lives to initiate that change. But their conviction is so strong that they are willing to take that risk.
This is a better way of doing it and enables you to do it more sustainably. What our inspectors want to see more than anything else is continuous improvement of schools, and by that they particularly mean improved test scores. So the fact that our schools, that our extended schools, are improving at twice the national rate is music to their ears, and it's a way of engaging head teachers and other people, particularly school governors, for instance, to see that these are not competing agendas, these are not different agendas, but actually we would argue that the way to sustainable school improvement, and by that improved test scores or achievement more broadly, is through developing extended services. And we've got evidence of that.
This is a strategy, not a program, that we are producing very solid evidence that children are doing better, that families are doing better, that schools are doing better when they adopt this strategy. The evidence is growing, and I think it's very, very solid. So I think from an evidence-based perspective, and I'm very much a believer in that approach, that we have both an empirical case and an underlying very solid theoretical case that community schools is the best strategy for getting all children to productive adulthood. And after all, that's what this is about.
I think the crucial thing, and again our inspectors are now telling us exactly the same thing, and I rejoice with this, that schools that join things up, that join policies up and deliver them together in a coherent fashion are the ones that are much more successful than those that see them as additive and yet more burdens that they have to bear. And it's finding ways of encouraging schools and talking with school leaders to enable them to see some kind of coherence in policy that will enable them to deliver lots of things much more effectively and much more easily, but those things that really do make a difference to our children and families. Because that's what everybody wants. That's what governments want. That's what communities want. They want to feel safe. They want to feel secure. They want to be healthy. But unfortunately, we put too many obstacles in their way at the present minute, which make that quite difficult. So the message to government, I think, is to try and find ways and means of joining policies up at government level to make sure that our communities can be empowered, can take charge of their own lives, can be safe and can be healthy, economically active, participating in their own decision making and so on.